Hello and welcome back to Link the Cast, your weekly dose of video games and nerd culture ephemera, available everywhere good podcasts are sold. I'm your seasonal party host, Dave Ryan, and I am joined by the lads, the missing members of the cast last week, as Garrett Kidney is away on assignment this week. First, he's a platforming prodigy. He looks all bundled up and warm there. It's Mark Robinson.
I'm sick and I sound like shit, and I'm glad I'm getting it out of the way now, so fingers crossed. When we do Game of the Year recordings next week, I'll be fit as a fiddle, but for now you're going to have to be subjected to me sounding as bunged up as I do.
We've had a bit of an irregular tradition on Game of the Year where several times one of us has been sick. Now, granted, one of us was incredibly sick a couple of years ago, the man I bet introduced in a couple of seconds, but there was definitely a year where I was like not recovered from a flu, and you know, people who don't, it seems like a really weird thing to say, but podcasting like the way we do for Game of the Year is actually surprisingly strenuous on the body.
It's almost like at this time of the year there's an uptick in the number of colds and flus and whatnot. Who'd have thought that?
Yeah, I know. I hopefully as well had gotten mine out of the way earlier in the month, but I suppose we shall see. The fickle finger of fate may yet point at one of us in the times of Game of the Year. Rounding out the panel, obviously, he's the Roman Reigns of audio. He's Mr. Chelsea, Jack Lazell. Jack, how much World Cup have you been watching?
I mean, all of it, mate, to be honest.
I'm disgustingly jealous. This is the least World Cup I've seen since USA 94.
Oh, man. That sucks. Yeah, I've just, anything I've missed, I've gone back and watched in it like extreme highlights version of it. But yeah.
Are you somebody that can watch back a match post to post when you know what the score is?
I can't really, and unless it was like a really kind of big match, I suppose.
I tell you what I have done before is like left my TV. You know, you can leave like live TV on pause.
Yeah.
I've left live TV on pause before, and then like carried on. You know, maybe 20 minutes later, if there's something I really need to sort out and I don't want to, and then just like disconnected from all my devices. But I'll never go back and watch a whole match, I think, and unless somebody was paying me to like analyze it, there's no point really, is there?
And there is something to be said for, you know, like Twitter and all the problems that it currently has, and you know, we'll see how long it lasts for, but there is something to be said when watching a live event, whether it's the football or wrestling, as is the case sometimes. You know, seeing in real time people reacting to the thing that you're watching as well, and certainly with like the World Cup, because we've had a number of moments in this World Cup where just, you know, some crazy shit has happened.
It's the going down to see the match in the pub effect. You know, in the 21st century, it's being able to have a communal experience of a sport without necessarily being in the same room. One of the lucky things the internet has provided us with. Like, again, myself and Jack have only ever seen one football match in person together at the same time, but we have shared many experiences watching football at the same time, among other sports. Gentlemen, it's Game of the Year season. We're on the cusp of recording ourselves. This is our last standard cast before the big recordings and our other holiday special come in. Just a bit of a temperature check before we move on to the movies and TV and whatnot. What's your preparedness level like this year, Jack? Because I know you're somebody who likes to compile a dossier in advance of Game of the Year, which is why sometimes you don't enjoy when write-in candidates do well.
No, I don't like the spontaneity. I would like to know what the write-in candidate was before.
Can I just say, you saying the word spontaneity is the most English you've ever sounded.
Spontaneity?
Yeah, it is like you proper enunciated. I enjoyed that.
Hello, Governor. Yeah, I don't particularly enjoy that. Just because I like to, even things I don't get to, I like to watch on YouTube. I like to read about. I like to listen to the music. I like to bring myself into the sphere, the aura, as it were, of every single game, regardless of whether I get to play it or not. So I'd say my preparedness level right now is about 3.
Okay.
I've started compiling my dossier. Obviously, the link to the cast poll went out for everybody to respond to. Thanks for people that have responded. So, got all of the choices off there and started making my notes. And haven't done too much really, but yeah, by the time we record on Monday, it will be absolutely ram-jammed with bullet points and various attacks for each member of the cast who happens to disagree with me on any of the bullet points.
Good. What about you, Mark?
I was just looking there actually on the form, and I think there's like either 26 or 27 nominations for the Game of the Year category.
These are 26
itself.
or 27 games you haven't played yet. I was like, you fucking get the skids under you, mate.
No, well, I was going to say, I was looking at them, and there's only 2 games on the list that I've not had any interaction with. One of them is Xenoblade Chronicles, sorry, Garrett, and the other is Rumbleverse, which is never going to happen. But otherwise, everything else I've either played or completed.
Just targeted attacks on Garrett and Barry.
So I would say, well, after his Signalis comments last week, this is probably the most prepared I've ever been for this show. And some might say that, probably I could have used parts of this year more constructively or productively for other things, but here we are. I don't think I'll be able to top this year, certainly with certain things that I intend to do next year.
Yeah.
I do feel like...
The OnlyFans you're, of course, referring to.
Yep, absolutely. But after this, you're going to fire me immediately. So there's no way I could play as many games as I did this year next year. But you know what? It's okay because it's been a really good year and I've played a lot of great games. And I'm really looking forward to doing the recordings next week and having all of my hopes and dreams crushed within the first 5 minutes.
I think I'm sitting at about an 8 out of 10 this year. I think maybe I want to touch maybe 1 or 2 games over this weekend, a little bit more, progress in one more game further so I can feel more authoritative about it. But I'm feeling in a place where, yes, there are games I haven't played, Xenoblade being one of them. But I feel like the kinds of games I've left unplayed are the kind that it would need to be a borderline religious experience for me to vote high in any of the categories they're nominated in. So I've
got 2 questions for you actually in regards to that. I haven't got the Game of the Year stuff in front of me right now, but did you get around to Norco?
That's one of the 2. That's one of the 2 I have to touch this weekend because everything I've seen its style, I've seen other people play it, but I have not actually myself.
And have you played Card Shark?
See, that is one that I don't think is going to win me over.
I think Card Shark would really win you over.
As somebody who has literally just dipped the toe in the Marvel Snap bandwagon, anything to do with card games, usually not for me.
It's not a card game.
Yeah, but are you saying that to me the way the fucking Gwent people tell me Gwent isn't a typical card game?
No, because it's not about playing cards. It's about being a sneaky cheating bastard, but you're not playing cards, you're just playing to cheat at cards. Trust me, whatever you think it is, it's not that. It's not a card game.
Okay. I think you probably shouldn't have put card in the title then.
Mark sounded desperate like Gil from The Simpsons there.
Cards,
oh my god, it's not a card game.
You got to buy it all.
Yeah, now Rainwater, that was strip that right off.
Cards are there, but it's about cheating at cards, but it's not the actual method of playing cards. Just fucking either look at it or play some. Trust me.
Old Gil put the house in Card Shark. Kids aren't gonna eat this Christmas.
I mean, Mark's losing it. We haven't even started Game of the Year yet, and he's already furious.
I'm sick and I'm tired, and it's going to be a long 10 hours of recording.
In a reflection of how sick and tired you are, I don't see anything here that you've been watching this week.
Look, Dave, I haven't watched anything in about the last 6 months. I've either been fucking playing Elden Ring or playing whatever else, or working, just cranking it. I just don't watch anything lately. Because we got rid of our Cineworld passes a fair few months ago now, and like we don't have Netflix anymore, and I can't be fucked to sit in front. If I'm in front of the TV, I'm either playing something or I'm working on something. I just don't watch a lot of things currently.
Jack, as a fellow content hoover, does that seem like a foreign language to you? That idea?
Yeah,
is
I mean, like, what do you do with your spare time if it's
what's
not
all your
video
furniture pointed at?
I've been watching the World Cup. That's what I've been doing for the last month.
Oh, the ultimate lad is here.
Yeah, that's me.
There he is.
But Jack, you have been watching a movie that I'm very interested to go and see, and that is The Menu.
Oh, The Menu, yes, or The Menu. It this is a weird fucking movie, Dave. I'm not gonna lie to you. It doesn't necessarily go the way you think it's gonna go. And then,
which is funny because it does give vibes of this isn't going to go the way you think it's going to go just from the trailers.
Yeah, but then when about halfway through the movie, it sort of tipped off. Oh, this is where it's going, and then you spend the rest of the movie going, nah, they're not going to do that, and then it absolutely does everything it says it's going to do in the most brutal fashions, and you're like, okay, fair play. They picked a direction and they stuck to it.
Is it kind of like, did you end up watching that Sebastian Stan, Daisy Edgar Jones Fresh on Disney Plus?
No, I didn't in the end. I remember you recommending it.
Yeah, it's like, I think, it's been a year to a year and a half since that came out, so I can kind of say what the plot of it is, where it's like the first act is like a meet cute between the two of them, and it's like setting up to be a romantic comedy, and it's very much played like it's going to be a rom-com, and then all of a sudden it switches on a dime because it turns out Sebastian Stan is this rogue surgeon who kidnaps women and harvests their organs to sell on the black market. And she's chained in his basement with like 2 cells either side of her that have women in various stages of dismemberment in them also.
That's horrifying.
It is fucking chilling. And that's why I was like, people need to watch this, because like the gut punch of that turn, and it gets like, and you keep thinking it's like, before something really bad happens to any of the people in this, someone's gonna come in and save the day. Nope. Nope. It may as well not be called Fresh and just called It Gets Worse.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I mean, that is very similar in terms of the execution to The Menu, but I think I said it in one of our group chats, but it kind of reminds me of an Agatha Christie style whodunit, in that you're trying to piece together, because at first like it just looks like a bunch of rich people heading, and like different levels of rich people. You have like John Leguizamo playing like a former, like a fading movie star, basically. You've got Nicholas Hoult, who's just like a massive foodie, and he wants to go for this really expensive experience with his favorite chef, and he brings Anya Taylor-Joy along, who's kind of portrayed to be his missus. There's an older couple, and then there are these like 3 douchebag stockbroker style dudes who are just obviously there because it's a status thing and nothing else. But it becomes very quickly apparent that they're all there probably for a reason. And then the sort of like Agatha Christie of it all starts unfolding, where you're like, wow, what's the connection? Why are they all there? And then nope, they're all there for a reason, but that reason is going to completely bind them all together, and then it goes from Agatha Christie into full-scale Alex Garland levels of this is going to make you really fucking uncomfortable to watch the rest of this movie. You're going to see some really weird stuff. I mean, Ralph Fiennes, you already know this, but he's just absolutely mercurial in how much of a sort of distant, twatty, like pretentious yet insanely focused scumbag he is in this movie.
Is he channeling the fucking director from God, what was the Coen Brothers movie? Where he has that fucking great extended skit with the would that were so simple.
Oh yeah.
Fuck. I'll look it up while you're talking.
Yeah. But yeah, he's definitely that. He plays like a sort of artisan chef who's built basically this dining, not just a meal, but like a
Hail
dining.
Caesar.
Hail Caesar, yeah. He's built like a dining experience on this private island that you have to get a boat to. And it's very apparent when you see the boat leave that you're like, oh, okay, like these people are definitely going to be on this island now. So anything that does happen on this island is going to have to, you know, happen within the confines, and there's not going to be much of a chance for an escape. And yeah, I really don't want to say too much about what happens, because I think it's one of these things that you just need to experience. It's shot so well, it's acted so well, the tension builds in it. There's so many kind of peaks and troughs of tension. There's like the first reveal of something like really shocking happening, and then everyone's trying to deal with whether the first shocking thing actually happened or not, or whether it was part of this menu. You know, that starts off as like the most pretentious possible food you can get. Like, you know, the first thing's like grafted onto a giant piece of rock, you know, and it's like, you know, ice and leaves and salad and all of that. And then the second thing is like a breadless breadboard where he just gives you the dips and no bread, because, you know, bread is peasant food and you're too rich for that. So at first you're like, oh yeah, this is exactly the sort of experience that rich twats would go to, and think it was genius. But then it takes a big turn, and the turn in the movie, once you turn, you ain't turning back. You turned. That's where you're going. The only kind of like quest, I guess, for hope in the movie is Anya Taylor-Joy, because although every single person in that scenario, it's not that they're meant to be there, it's that they've sort of been designed to be there. She's the only one who isn't. So you get like really weird vibes from all of the staff when she's there unexpectedly in the first place.
Yeah.
So yeah, her story is kind of like the central arc of the movie, like weaving around this just absolutely devastating narrative of what the fuck is wrong with Ralph Fiennes and why is he doing this. So yeah.
Stop it, Ralph Fiennes.
Stop it, Ralph Fiennes is right. There's a lot of insane stuff that happens, and yeah, just prepare yourself to kind of have that shock factor, and then once the shock factor sets in, you just have to watch the thing as a spectacle for the last half of the movie. It plays its hand early, and then you're on a ride from there on out, and just don't try and jump yourself out of being on that ride. Just stay on that ride, because it takes a few turns. So yeah, great movie. The Menu, really strange. It feels like the blend of a lot of styles that have been done before, but feels wholly unique at the same time.
The first thing I've been watching this week is the well, I watched it a couple of weeks ago, but I just haven't had the chance to talk about it on the show, is the DAZN produced documentary that is now available on iPlayer about the original Ronaldo O Fenomeno, that kind of charts his rise from, you know, being a kid, breaking through in Brazil, moving to Europe, absolutely just tearing defenses apart, the injuries, France 98, all the way through to Ronaldo's redemption in 2002. The original Ronaldo is my favorite player I've ever seen in my life. Unfortunately, I never had the privilege of seeing him live, but he was just like the player I remember growing up that was just, every time you saw him, it was absolutely electric. And it was back when it still felt like seeing glimpses of players like this was a bit kind of special and out of the ordinary. And he takes on this near mythic status with young people our age when we were growing up, that I imagine the likes of a Maradona captured for the generation before, and a Ronaldo and Messi have captured for the generation that followed us. I thought this was just an excellent documentary, a fairly kind of honest portrayal of the guy. It was great. I think they made great choices in the talking heads they had in it, and it did fill me with those familiar chills and thrills of the rise of O Fenomeno. I assume you've seen it at this point, Jack. I think you might have actually seen it before me. What did you think of it?
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was really great. It's interesting you were saying that, like, the sort of near mythic quality of athletes around that time. Obviously, he was tied into Nike, and Nike's sort of sports marketing campaign, I feel like, once they kind of kicked it off, and, you know, Jordan was like the very center of their entire universe, pretty much anyone else they chucked the cash behind from there on out became like this massive household name. You know, this person is top of the sport and they're wearing Nike, and Nike were just hugely influential in hyping Ronaldo to an entire generation, many of whom probably might not have seen him play that much.
Yeah.
So I think it was extra special to have the whole documentary kind of focused around the 2 World Cups, because I think for a lot of people that didn't go out of their way to watch Italian football, or, you know, Spanish or even Dutch football, would have been near impossible to watch as a kid in England in the mid-90s. The big opportunities, you got to see this guy play, like once every 4 years.
Yeah.
So you knew about him, you knew of his exploits, but then you actually get to see him, and he didn't disappoint in either World Cup. He was phenomenal in both World Cups, aside from obviously the final of 98, which we kind of go into a little bit in the documentary as to what happened to him. I don't think I've ever seen as big of a freak out about somebody potentially not playing in a game as I have done in that moment in 98.
It was genuine hysteria.
Yeah, exactly. When the team sheet came out, and I think it was Edmundo who was on the team sheet and not Ronaldo, and everybody just lost their rag. I guess the closest comparison is probably when Portugal dropped Ronaldo to the bench, the other Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo, in this World Cup, and he had about 250 journalists circling him and taking photos. But we didn't have that with Ronaldo because he wasn't really in the stadium at that point. He was still coming back from hospital because he'd had a massive seizure and really, really shouldn't have been playing, basically. But yeah, there was like a huge outcry. And it sounds to me more like the decision to make him play, because there were all sorts of conspiracy theories that they talk through on the documentary, but it sounds like the decision to play was his.
Yeah.
He said to the coach he really wanted to play, and the coach was like, right, well, you know, you're the best player in the world, so if you want to play, I'm going to chuck you in. And he shouldn't have done, but yeah, it was a really cool documentary. I loved every minute of it, and I think for people of our generation, Ronaldo is always going to hold a special place in your heart as that first, probably the first like massive global superstar footballer that I was aware of. I think on that kind of stage. 98 was the first World Cup I properly watched. I mean, I watched a bit of 94, and obviously Roberto Baggio took a big starring role in that one, but then didn't really have the dream ending, and a similar thing happened to Ronaldo in 98, so that was kind of the story. I wonder if a similar thing, we'll know, you'll know, listener, by now as we're recording this on Friday night, if a similar thing happens to the biggest player in the world, Lionel Messi, on Sunday in the World Cup final, and it ends in another disappointing ending for the star player of the tournament, but yeah, we shall see.
The other thing I did that kind of was a very seasonal, enjoyable experience was I brought one of my groups in work up to the Stella Cinema in Rathmines in Dublin, which is this kind of refurbished Art Deco cinema, one of those places where like everything, like every seat is an armchair or a couch or a bed, and you get table service for your food. The drinks in the cinema are proper thick glasses, they're not like disposable cups. And brought them up to see Home Alone 2, and like I know we all fondly remember Home Alone 1 as a Christmas classic of our era, but I gotta bring some love for Home Alone 2 Lost in New York here. Now, it does very much raise the question by, at this point, Protective Services absolutely should have taken Kevin off those parents. Those are like some of, in spite of the fact that in both movies, the mother, Catherine O'Hara, does a babyface turn at the end. Like horrendous parents. Truly horrendous parents. Clearly unfathomably wealthy people as well, with the fucking mansion they live in the Chicago area.
To be fair, they've got about 15,500 children, so they need a mansion that big.
There's so much of a missed backstory to how that whole thing how that works as it's set up.
There's stuff that's really quaint about it, like the old credit card systems, like how they catch him using his dad's credit card, because they had the old you have to call up to verify the use of the credit card, and there's the machine and you having to sign it. There's no just tapping a card or anything like that back then. And I think there's a number of airport travel, being able to sprint through an airport without being tackled by a fucking SWAT team is pretty good. The only security being them checking your ticket at the gate, just one woman standing beside a door, is very adorable. The idea that in a post 9/11 world any human being could accidentally get on the wrong flight is quite something. But maybe the quaintest thing of all, one of those things that people talk about how there's so many movies now that if they were made in the era of mobile phones being existed, the entire problem, all the central problems of the film, are solved by one person with a mobile phone. Very much the case.
Whole of Seinfeld is that.
Yeah, in Home Alone 1 and 2, the big stressful situation that leads them to forget Kevin both times is that they're incredibly late for their flights, because both times they accidentally plug out the one alarm clock in the house. Because one, it's quaint that there would only be one of those in a house that size, and two, that you would use alarm clocks at all nowadays is a very adorable idea. I have to say.
What is an alarm clock?
But it's such a warm hug of a movie, with the exception of obviously the Trump cameo, which just boy, aged like milk.
Yeah, but you know what? That's cancelled out by the Tim Curry stuff.
It's really funny. Yeah, it's really funny because there was a couple of the young people that were with us that hadn't seen Home Alone 2 since they were a kid, and the bit where he's going through the hotel and runs into Trump, one of the kids right in front of me is like, "What the fuck?" audibly in the cinema. I was like, yeah, he's in this. And I always
forgot that he was in it, though, to be honest. I would have done the same thing.
I obviously, we all remember Tim Curry and how great Tim Curry is in everything, and in this as well. But I keep forgetting that the other guy working at the hotel is Rob Schneider. That's the one I forget every single time. And he is great in it. He's an absolute colossal bell end of a man, IRL, but he's very good in this.
Would he have been on Saturday Night Live at the time?
He probably would have been, yeah. Yeah, he's really good. I think Buzz, his older brother, is really good in this movie. I think his comic timing with the way he just is constantly trolling Kevin is great. Obviously, the Culk is great. Little Culk is great as Fuller, the creepy looking little cousin. Who's always really loudly slurping a giant can of Coke in both movies. That's his bit. But the starring role, truly God's gift to physical comedy, The Wet Bandits.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Oh my God. I have probably seen that movie. I've probably seen both Home Alones almost more than any other movie I've ever seen in my life, because of how often it would be on replay as a kid, both on TV and, we had the VHS. So we're watching it definitely at Christmas time every year. But kids, they'll just watch Home Alone any time of year, really, Christmas or not.
Have you seen Home Alone 3 and 4?
I saw Home Alone 3 once when it came out, and I was like, no, thank you. And that was me kindly stepping off the Home Alone cinematic universe. I've got to say, something that I always remember with Home Alone is the guy I mentioned earlier that I lived with, Wayne. I mentioned him to you guys in college. He is a fluent German speaker, and he used to watch movies in German to get better at German. And the direct translation of Home Alone from the German title to the English is "Kevin's alone in the house," and I've never forgotten that as long as I live. But yeah, guys, Harry and Marv, like, no matter how often I've seen them taking bumps, getting mutilated in various ways, I still laugh just as hard. Like, Joe Pesci is obviously great because he's playing against type. You know, you see Joe Pesci in almost anything else, and he's like a scary little motherfucker.
Let me tell you, I saw Joe Pesci in this before I saw Goodfellas.
Yeah,
so
it's weird. Yeah, most people our age did.
I think we all did. Yeah.
By the way, well, I'll tell you what. If you were that age and you saw Goodfellas first, I mean, trouble.
But I just want to say though, Joe Pesci, one of the all-time greats. Like, he's so good in everything. Yeah. Everything he does is incredible.
Yeah,
he's just such a brilliant actor. Has so much personality. Almost feels like he doesn't have to try. He just is.
But guys, Daniel Stern.
Yeah. I mean, no one would know who he was if it wasn't for Home Alone.
Holy, like, I mean, even though you know the bits are coming, I was still knotted laughing in the cinema at, like, the recurring bit with the, like, he gets hit 5 times in a row with a brick. Like,
yeah.
He's just like, the eyes are rolling, like you see the brick shaped dents in his forehead coming up, or the there's a bit where they've already been just tortured to bits by this kid again, and there's a bit where Kevin yells down at them like, "Do you give up?" And Marv defiantly straightens up his back and shouts, "Never!" And it's just great. It's like every line delivery is fantastic. There's also a recurring bit where this one woman keeps thinking Marv is like trying to goose her. So, like, I can't remember how it happens the first time, but she turns around and clocks someone, and then there's a bit where they catch Kevin, and to get away from them, Kevin like pokes her in the arse, and she turns around and he points up at Marv, and she recognizes him from before and fucking clocks him again, and then clocks, because he's like, no, it was him pointing at Joe Pesci, clocks him as well. It's just a great little movie. Like, it's not like it's a kind of subjective 10 out of 10. It's not an objective 10 out of 10 because a lot of it is retreads of the first movie. I do think it's got a lot of warmth and a lot of heart to it. Brenda Fricker's role is kind of like the lonely pigeon lady in Central Park. That arc he has with her, where he kind of like, this little kid is kind of teaching her to, you know, maybe she shouldn't cut herself off and make herself so standoffish to other people, because, you know, you can try and protect yourself from heartbreak all your life, but you're just going to end up very lonely. And then I love, like, the most Christmas cheer part of it is Mr. Duncan from the toy shop as well. Is like, that's the perfect actor to cast in a Christmas movie in that kind of role. He's the most like Christmas looking man in the world. He's fantastic. It's just a fabulous little movie, lads. I love it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in probably at least a decade, I would say.
You should check it, even if you just like fast forward to Act 3 for all the physical comedy.
Yeah, I could just go on YouTube and watch like the best bits of the Wet Bandits from Home Alone 2.
Yeah, well, in this, remember, in Home Alone 2, they're the Sticky Bandits, because Marv is trying to find a new gimmick for them, and he puts like duct tape all over his hands so he can steal money from Santas outside supermarkets.
That is quite the gambit.
I wonder if like Home Alone 1 and 2 is where we got the kind of origins of what would come to be known as Jackass, in terms of our amusement for watching grown men just get utterly annihilated.
You know, I'll hear the argument.
It's Buster Keaton though, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
Johnny Knoxville, like, massive Buster Keaton fan. So it all goes back to like Buster Keaton and like the Three Stooges as the massive like inspirations for all of that physical comedy. But I'm sure Home Alone has its own sort of place in that pantheon as well.
Yeah. It's just great, like, stick on the TV and switch off your brain watching at this time of year, which is high value content at Christmas, if you ask me.
Yeah, I will definitely do my Christmas Eve rewatch of Die Hard like I do every single year.
Well, now it's on Disney Plus in 4K.
Is it?
Yeah. So I'm going to
watch it tonight.
I'm going to watch pristine quality Hans Gruber falling off the Nakatomi Plaza.
God, I miss Alan Rickman so much.
I know. Okay, Mark. Finally, time to tag you in. Video games.
Perfect time for me to yawn. Fucking hell. All right, let's do this. Well, actually, it's kind of apropos. I played about a half an hour this morning of High on Life, which is the new Squanch Games title. That's the Justin Roiland founded video games company. If you've seen the trailers, you will know that this is very much aping on that Rick and Morty style of humor. You've got Justin Roiland as basically as Morty, but in the form of a sentient alien gun that is constantly talking and yapping at you, and you may have seen like bits of clips doing the rounds about the kind of meta commentary in this game about, this is a video game, and we're aware this is a video game. So, like, I enjoy Rick and Morty. I wouldn't say I'm the biggest fan in the world, but when that does a good episode, I will sit there and I'll have a good laugh, and I'm there for it. I'm there to have a good time with it.
Mark, are you like me, where you're a fan of Rick and Morty, but you almost don't want to admit that you're a fan of Rick and Morty because of what fans of Rick and Morty are actually like?
No, because like I'm really outside of the bubble of knowing how big that fandom is, so I don't really care about that.
I'm kind of like that, Jack, in that I'm very conscious if somebody asks me what kind of TV I watch, that with certain people, if I say Rick and Morty, I am instantly judged by them.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But it is very good.
And the thing is, as well, is like I've never really sat down and properly just watched it, because most of the Rick and Morty I've watched is through Maria, because she loves Rick and Morty. So if she's watching an episode, I'll sit down and I'll watch it with her.
That's going to be a real, like, it's not like I've actually watched it or anything. I just enjoy it as a concept.
No, I've watched most of the episodes, I'd say, at this point. And again, Dan Harmon, his style of writing, that Community, he does that meta thing and he does it very well. When he lands it, he's as good as they get. But like this High on Life, they're clearly trying to ape on that sort of stuff, but they forgot to include any jokes. This thing so far, and I'm only about half an hour in, really what this game is showing me, and I tweeted about this earlier, is it's showing the triumphs of Guardians of the Galaxy in that they were able to have at times 5 or 6 different characters on the screen all shouting at each other, all shouting at you, but no one sounds like they're kind of talking over another person. Like they all have their room to say their piece, and it never really got irritating. And in fact, for the most part, it was very charming and there was a warmth to it. And I really enjoyed the voice acting and the narration of Guardians of the Galaxy. Like it was a real surprise how well they managed to execute all of that. And only 30 minutes into High on Life, and even with just like 2 characters, there's none of the like delicate balance of having multiple voices talking. Like even with 2 characters, they're stumbling over each other and nothing has any room to breathe. And the problem is what there is to breathe anyway, or if it was there, it's just not that funny. Like it doesn't have jokes. Like it's like there's a bit, it was like, oh yeah, we're in a video game, so you need to go and talk to that guy. It's like, that's not a joke. Like I understand what you're doing in terms of trying to say like, haha, you're in a video game, blah blah blah, but there's nothing there so far that's like for me to kind of gravitate to.
I think
the
something
sort of
about
meta commentary that Garrett would hate, by the way.
Oh, Garrett would fucking hate this game so far. And also, just to say as well, like the actual FPS combat shooting it's not that great. It's not.
I actually think that like something that Rick and Morty is partly to blame for as well, and also the kind of the way the humor in Marvel movies is written, is I think we've long passed the point of like a critical mass of snark, so that when it's not extraordinarily well done, I think people are much more over it. than they had been before. So like when Rick and Morty is good, people still really enjoy it. But I think like that kind of every character being like a quip lord in fucking Marvel movies in particular is just like, I'm just done with it at this stage. So like if you're telling me there's like a first person shooter where the gun is constantly like making gags and talking back and shit like that, I could hardly think of something less appealing to me right now.
and you really get the flavor of what this thing is within the first 5 minutes, because the start of the game, you're in like a kind of parody version of a retro FPS, a Duke Nukem or a Doom or whatever, and it's I can't remember the voice actor that plays Rick, but it's him, and he's like
it's also Justin Roiland. Yeah, he's both of them.
He does both.
Of them,
okay,
yeah.
fair enough. I always forget that. So he's doing his Rick voice basically, and I can't remember the name of the character, but you're going along, and the like NPS that's kind of the voice talking to you, he's like your divorce lawyer, and the game is about you trying to get divorced from your wife. And he's like, fucking, right, you gotta crouch. Oh, I can't believe the game developers put a crouch in this game. Oh, no, you need to double jump. Oh, wait, no, they didn't put a double jump in, so you have to fucking crouch. And again, it's like, okay, you're saying these things at me, but there's not an actual punchline here. And within the first 5 minutes, and I haven't played the whole thing, but it carries on for that half an hour to the point you're like, all right, this is what this game is going to give me. And the sort of 25 minutes where Justin Roiland is doing his Morty voice on this particular gun is, oh jeez, I think you need to go for it. It's just that, but again, there's no punchline at all to any of it. So I'll stick with it for another hour or so and see if, like, when I get one of the other guns, if they're any good. But this thing's not for me.
Do you know what I'm going to promise on his behalf, even though he's not here? If we get a record number of voters in the Game of the Year poll this year, Garrett will play and review High on Life for us on the podcast.
We may actually have to pay him to do that.
Oh, screw that.
So yeah, I mean, this thing's on Game Pass, so like that's the only reason that I at least took a look at this thing. But I'm not sure about this one, boys.
Yeah, I from all the impressions that everybody's given of it, I know it's on Game Pass. I have Game Pass. I have no inclination to get this thing for free.
Yeah, the PC Gamer review of it in particular is particularly good, because I think the title is like High on Life. It sucks ass. So yeah,
but that's Justin Roiland though. Is that he is just a complete madman, and he just makes up weird characters. He's like, hi, I'm Snoopy Snarbles, and I'm like pie, and like just says weird stuff, right? But he needs the guidance of Dan Harmon to kind of produce an effective storyline for his madness to work in the environment.
When he hits big, but when he misses, oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, like, Earl of Lemongrab is my favourite character in Adventure Time, and God bless him for shooting out his vocal cords to make that character work. But yeah, I'm guessing Harmon isn't involved in the writing of High on Life.
No, I think Squanch Games is exclusively a Roiland venture.
Just
He originally wanted to call it Squanch Tendo as well, but they weren't too happy with that.
So
that's weird.
that.
Nintendo in particular about intellectual property.
It's wild, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of Nintendo, I thought it would be nice to just take a moment and go back, because a few days ago it was the 20th anniversary of The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker for the GameCube, and we had the HD release on Wii U. Well, some like 8 years ago now. I remember playing it. I remember buying it on Christmas, like 2013, 2014. It's scary how the years go by, but yeah, Wind Waker, often regarded as the like childlike one, the one that, oh my god, they've done the cell shading thing, what are they doing, and arguably has probably aged the most gracefully in terms of how it looks in the last 25 years.
As Jeff Gerstmann once loudly said when someone pointed out that people hated Wind Waker, he's like, this is why we can't have nice things.
Now, I will say the actual Triforce quest, which they try to patch up in the HD remake, is fucking garbage. It is a load of bullshit. But it's also a case of, hey, they clearly had their development time to a certain point and just couldn't go past that. But Dave, I can't remember. Did you play Wind Waker at the time? Did you get to this later on? Where was you with this one?
Yes, to both, because I also got the HD remake, and I remember that the two things that I was like, these could have done a little bit more time cooking were the Triforce quest and also the sailing. There not being a quick option on the sailing, which they did properly amend the latter for the remake, so I love that. But yeah, I have a real soft spot for Wind Waker. I think it's like, you know, it's got its problems, absolutely, but like you said, the animation and the spirit of the game have really aged quite well. Compared to a lot of others, particularly from the Wii U era. It's the only one really worth talking about anymore.
And the thing with it as well is, like, I don't really feel like it should have ever came as a surprise, because after Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, which are two sides of a very dark, oppressive coin, you kind of have to go in a different direction, a lighter, you know, just a lighter direction. You can't go further down that well.
That's why I could never understand people during that era being like, okay, now we really need grown-up Zelda. I was like, we just fucking got that, like.
Yeah. I mean, Majora's Mask, I wouldn't even say is like a grown-up Zelda, but certainly Ocarina of Time, absolutely. It's like, it is the grand adventure to be of all grand adventures. So it always baffled me. It's like, why would you not want to do something? And, you know, like, I like Twilight Princess, but you clearly see that the biggest issue with Twilight Princess is how hard it's trying to be Ocarina of Time Part 2. And that's what makes the Wind Waker all the more successful, is that they kept on through Ocarina of Time, through Majora's Mask, and through to Wind Waker. And it's kind of an issue they had up until Breath of the Wild, which was they kept trying to ape on something that they'd already done, because Skyward Sword is the, you know, other side of Wind Waker. And I just, you know, whenever you get out onto the open sea in that game and you hear that music, like, the open world music of Wind Waker is probably the piece of music that I remember more than any other. That I hear it immediately as soon as I see like an image of the open sea. And it just, you know, 10-12 hours of playing that game, you can hear that bit of music and you're like, yeah, I'm ready. Let's go find out these bits on the map that unfortunately in the original version, yes, as you point out, the quick sailing feature would not be implemented until the HD version, unfortunately. But it's all, I will say, the one issue with the game, and, you know, part on probably the kind of lighter tone of it, it is easier. It's much easier than Ocarina of Time, and certainly easier than Majora's Mask. And certainly the temples do feel just a little bit more kind of signposted and a little bit more linear, which again is something that Zelda as a series would struggle with going forward until Breath of the Wild. But I don't know, I think it's a magical game. I do wish there was like a director's cut that had that third dungeon that was cut out, and the Triforce in its kind of most complete form that it's meant to be. And obviously there's the issue of Tingle, but you know, I think even Majora's Mask can't escape that. So
I think we can all agree that if the award was around back then, if we were casting way back in the day, King of Red Lions for Goodest Boy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
A great game.
Waker, wonderful game.
Now that I've got my Steam Deck, it's a very real possibility that's getting a substantial playthrough over Christmas once I can get the Wii U stuff working on there. So yeah, looking forward to that. I have a couple of like just quick ones here, and then we'll go to Jack. So the PS5 version of Witcher 3 came out. To no one's surprise, I re-downloaded it. I literally only got.
Cost you? Was that free, or like what's the deal with it?
I didn't have a digital copy of it. I have a physical copy of the original, so I just went. It was only $17.99, I think. to get the digital, and then you get the free upgrade with it. To
if you're a sick man, I guess.
Yeah, like 17 for the amount of content. Like, considering I've already like in previous days put in 500 plus hours and got nowhere near beating it. Like, that 17.99 is outrageous value for that.
Look, but the most content doesn't always mean the best content.
No, but in this case, the two things align quite well, I would say.
All right, Dave.
So the two things about it. Firstly, they have done some sort of sorcery that the PS5 version of it has cut out a lot of the chuffa in terms of how much space it takes up on your hard drive. This was a game that with the two expansions was taking you over the 100 gig marks before, but now it's in like the mid 70s. So aces for that. The second thing is that in performance mode, this thing looks outrageous. Oh my word. A smooth as silk 60 FPS on this bad boy.
I mean, in terms of like the 70 gigs, I mean, Witcher 3 came out, what, like 2015, 2016?
2015.
Yeah, that's a good 7 years of understanding how to better compress textures.
You also had two 20 to 30 gig expansions, and this is 70 with both of those thrown in on top.
Yeah, but even still, like we've got really good about how to kind of other than Activision, obviously, for the most part, developers have figured out better ways to compress that kind of stuff. But that's really good to hear.
If you want the authentic experience of when it launched in 2015, you can definitely go for the visuals mode. That, like, yes, the bloom and everything looks incredible. Now, it fucking looks incredible on my TV in performance mode, so I don't see the need to tamper with the visually enhanced mode with the ray tracing and all that. But if you do, it definitely gives you the launch experience of Witcher 3, in as much as the frame rate goes to absolute shit. It's all over the place, which was very much the case for the first, I think, 2 weeks of Witcher 3 before the first substantial patch they had to it. But yeah, it's just a special game, and this is like the nicest way to experience it. They've also over the years added a lot of kind of accessibility features and things to it, and I remember something I really hated at launch was how I couldn't make the HUD less busy, but now you can literally toggle every individual element of the HUD on and off, as well as the size of each individual element. So it's a lot better, and it's just one of those things where I don't think I ever have it in me again to do a complete run to the end of that game. But as a game to like get a certain amount into and then just log on every now and then to spend a couple of hours just riding around doing a couple of side quests, it's going to be well worth paying money for it again. And if you haven't hopped on it so far, like, fuck, for $17.99, like.
Did you dabble with the Switch version at all?
No, I didn't bother.
Right.
There was no point, because again, I couldn't migrate saves, and I could if I was ever going to get rid of my saves in favor of a different version of Witcher 3, it was going to be a PS5 one that had a substantial visual upgrade. It's not the kind of game I'd ever have an inclination to play on the go, so why would I get it on the Switch?
Sick man.
I am a sick man. Like, I mean, I got my PlayStation Wrapped this week, and I had 578 hours on FIFA 22 this year.
Jesus.
And I've already got FIFA 23 is already in second place on my list. Not nearly as much, obviously. Elden Ring in third, though, so hey, there's that. Other thing I have been playing, I've significantly broken the back now on God of War Ragnarok.
God of War, more like God of Bore, right? Am I right?
That's all right.
It's fine.
Yeah,
it's aggressively fine.
You've really over peppered the badness, because I was like coming in about to go, oh, and I feel like
I don't think it's a bad game. At no point have I said that I think God of War Ragnarok is a bad game.
Mark, your impressions of it are the most 2 out of 10, 7 out of 10 takes I've ever heard.
It is the bad side of a 7 out of 10.
You want to talk about damning with faint praise? That's you on this game. So like, I came in, and maybe you've set the bar so low that I'm like, yeah, you know what? I think where it probably rightfully sits, as far as I'm concerned, is in what we've started calling no man's land. I think it's better than a ham sandwich. I don't think anywhere near my top 10 for the year. I like, it looks great. Sound design is fantastic. But I think, and I was saying this to Garrett last week, is that I find it very similar to Horizon, in as much as both those games came out, and in Horizon's case we all went, I can't wait to see what they do with the next one of those. And in the case of God of War, we all went, well, all we need is another one of those. And then both games came out this year with a sequel that was essentially just another one of those, and in both cases we kind of went, fuck, actually it turns out we needed a little bit more than just another one of those. I do think the main problem I have with the game is its pacing. That is the thing, is like the kind of downward swings in between moments of intense action are they're longer than in the previous game. It felt like they got the beats and the timing of the last God of War perfect, whereas this is, every quiet part goes on a little bit too long, and every awesome set piece doesn't quite go long enough. Like, if I had stopped playing after the Thor fight and the scene with Thor and Odin, and then I heard your review, I would have been like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Oh, believe me, at that point there, I was like, all right, we're doing this here. Like, I feel like this game starts even better than God of War 2018. I was like, right, we're on here. Odin, they've clearly gone fucking Goodfellas with Odin. Sure, let's fucking take this approach to him. I don't care, whatever. I was fully on board with it, but then soon after that, you're riding a yak for an hour and a half, and the game just loses all pace.
Yeah, it's it needed a better edit down of things. It just doesn't have the thing that's great about the last God of War is it just feels relentless. You're like, even in the moments where you're solving a puzzle and it's a little bit quiet, you're feeling a sense of urgency that this game absolutely doesn't have. That's my main problem with it. I don't come to God of War for the kind of milling around Assassin's Creed type, let's go knock off side quests on a map experience. Those are nice to have as options. They were in the last one, but it feels like this game is packed with a lot of that for the fucking sake of it, rather than it having, I felt like a lot of it in the last game had purpose, you know, and had reasoning behind it. Like, there is an incredibly cringy moment that I just had a couple of hours ago into the game, where you find the first half of medallion that gets you back to that is it Muspelheim from the last game, which was just like the kind of the wave defense, where you just take on wave after wave of enemies and try to survive it. And like the lines of dialogue when they found this like amulet or whatever half of the trinket to get you back there was, hey, we could go back there like we did a couple of years ago. I wonder if we'll be any better at it this time. It's like, are you literally putting back in the same side quest from the last game? Fucking hell. Like, what are you doing? So that was the most cringy, disappointing part so far, I have to say. But I'm still gonna keep playing it. Like, I'm enjoying it enough that I will keep going with it, even though I'm not nearly as high on it as I was the last one. Jack.
It does end well, I will say that. Just to round off there, it does end well, and it's just that middle section. It's a game that starts really well and it ends really well, but that the problem is that middle section's about 20 hours of the game, which should be 10. Yeah. But anyway,
Jack.
Hi. Yes, I've been playing Geoguesser.
I could not believe when I saw you putting this in like nominated categories for Game of the Year. I was like, motherfucker sneaking up on us with some Geoguesser.
Yeah, I think I put it in 2022's game of not 2022, because obviously it came out like 9 years ago now. But you know what? I've been I don't want to say I've been playing it in secret, because it's not like I've been trying to hide it, but I haven't really been talking about it so much.
Late at night by candlelight.
Yeah, exactly. Just like sneaking off to the restricted area of a public library to just play Geoguesser. I really like Geoguesser. I find it really fun. Are you guys familiar with like the premises of the main modes or anything?
I am.
I
Yeah.
have no idea what Geoguesser is. I'm presuming it's kind of like, what the fuck is it? Geocaching or something? I wonder if it's like similar to that. Is it? No, okay.
No, geocaching means actually going outside, which is that's not my jam, especially not right now. Everything is frozen.
He got enough of that with Pokemon Go. He doesn't need another game making him like go
Also,
places.
can we just say God bless Ash Ketchum? See you on your next journey.
I may have disappeared from the Pokemon Go scene, by the way. I haven't turned the game on in like a couple of weeks now.
Jesus.
I did read that they like have gone utterly overboard with the kind of like pay to win mechanics.
Do you think Niantic will realise that you haven't logged on in a couple of weeks and like send police to do a welfare check?
They really should do, yeah. But I think there's people that spend a lot more money on the game than me.
It's okay, Jack. Come join us in Marvel Snap.
I've tried to play Marvel Snap. It's fine. It is so aggressively fine.
It's so much better than fine.
I feel we've been talking all year about how Garrett's going to be like the contrarian coming into the clearing in Game of the Year, but there's a couple of real spicy Jack takes brewing this year.
Anyway, let's put that to one side. Geoguesser is a game where basically you have essentially a Google Earth / Street View mark of a place, and you have to guess where you are. You get like in the bottom right hand corner, you get like a little map, and you've got to like move around, figure out where you are, and try and get the most accurate possible position to the location that you can see. Now, there's a few different modes, because you can play you can play UK locations, or you can play different parts of the world. You can play just in capital cities, where you've got to guess which capital city you're in, and stuff like that, which are all really fun. There's like some really good quiz modes on there, where it's like half quiz, half interactive with, there's a football quiz on there, and it's like, oh, okay, what country is this stadium in? And then you'll be inside of a stadium, and you've got to like select the right country and stuff like that, which is really cool as well.
Are you like actually just inputting in the words for what you think it is, or like
no. So in the bottom right hand corner, you get a map, like you get Google Earth essentially, but not like an overlaid version of Google Earth, just a standard graphical version of Google Earth, and you have to click down where you are.
Oh, so you have to just drag to actually the point on the map and go, right, that's where I am. Okay,
or as close as you can possibly get. Right. And then you're graded like so it's usually out of 5,000 points, and then as close as you are to the point. Like some are really easy. Like for instance, if you were put next to Big Ben, you'd know exactly where you were, right? So you go onto the map and find Big Ben. But like some of them are really, really difficult. Do
you have like a margin of error for how close you can be to be like spot on?
So I think the margin of error to get like 5,000 points, I think is within 100 yards. And then after that, like it gets further and further out, right? So if you're like a few hundred miles away, you'll get like, I don't know, like 3,500 points or something like that.
Okay.
But so there's loads of different modes on there. But my favorite mode by far, there's multiplayer modes where you can play it competitively against people. So you can do a duel with somebody where it's just you versus someone else, and you get a few different rounds, and you've got to get as close as you possibly can to the place, and you've got like 2 minutes to do it, and then the other person, if they guess, they kind of narrow the time down, so then you've got to guess within 30 seconds after them, which puts a bit of pressure on you. There's like a battle royale version of it where like, say 15 people go into it, where you've got to do it by distance. But my favorite by far is battle royale countries, because I am not nerdy enough to know the exact positions that I am on the map, but battle royale countries is fun because all you need to do is click what country you're in, right? So you get dropped into a map, there's 15 people, you've got like 2 minutes to guess, and you're having to figure out which country you're in based on all of the landmarks around you. Sometimes you're in a city, there's loads of signs, you can read the text, you can have an educated guess. You know, like say Greek, the language, when it's written down, Greek is very easily distinguishable, right? The Greek alphabet. So it's very obvious that you're probably going to be in Greece or Cyprus from that. But sometimes it will just put you right in the middle of pretty much nowhere, and you're just on a road and it's like, okay, go figure this out. And I mean, sometimes you can kind of have an educated guess from the landscape, but a lot of the times what you got to do, because you can do this, there are modes where you can't move, but you can move around, right? So you like click forward and you're sort of like on a road and you're clicking down the road to see if you can find like a turn off for a town, or like a road sign, or something that might give you a little bit of a hint or an inkling as to where you can do. So you've got this 2 minutes to get this, and then everyone who gets it's kind of through to the next round. If it's super obvious, there's like you at least lose one person every round, basically. And yeah, I just think I've been having so much fun with it, because I'm now starting to recognize things about different countries and kind of the way they're in. Like, you know, Cyrillic language, you know, is used in Russia and Ukraine, but also I didn't know Bulgaria. So that, like, you know, if I'm in a situation like that, I figure out and I'm like, okay, I'm in Bulgaria. Or like you'll recognize like what a Latvian place or a Lithuanian place would sound like. What the difference between Mexican Spanish and Spanish, like regular Spanish is, and things like that. And it's just, I just find that a lot of fun. I mean, you two are probably sat there like, you absolute loser.
That's well up my strasser.
Yeah, I'm well into that. I was going to say, though, I bet Belgium would be tricky, because being there last week, there are times when I don't know what fucking country I'm in, because sometimes it's Dutch, sometimes it's German, sometimes it's French. And I'm not talking just the languages, like the architecture, like the way things are laid out. That country is a fucking nightmare to figure out sometimes. So I imagine there'll be sometimes like that where you get thrown off.
Yeah. So honestly, you can play Geoguesser for free. Like, you get sort of, I think you get like 15 minutes for free of Geoguesser, and then all you have to do is wait. I think it's like 5 or 10 more minutes, and then you can play another 15 minutes for free. So, or you can kind of, I think it's like 10 or 15 quid for like a year's account on Geoguesser, if you just want to play it in an unlimited way. But honestly, to just go on there and throw down on a couple of rounds of Battle Royale countries, I find it so fun. And then the good thing about Battle Royale countries as well is you can see other people's wrong guesses. You get 3 lives essentially. If you get all 3 guesses wrong, you're out and you have to go into another round. But what it does is it gives you other people's wrong guesses, but in flag form. So if you, like me, this is one of my hidden talents, happen to be a fucking expert on flags of the world.
A vexillologist.
Yeah, I am a
flag savant.
I am a full-scale vexillologist, a full-scale flag savant, yeah. I'd say I probably know, like, I would say 70 to 80% of the world's flags. And I have no idea why, right?
You watch World Cups? What can I say?
I think it's World Cups. I think it's Championship and Football Manager over the years. And just generally, don't know, when I was a kid, I just really liked flags.
It's like the way we all know a lot more about US geography than we should because of wrestling.
Oh yeah,
I know
no reason I should know Battle Creek, Michigan, but here we are.
Yeah,
I know more about US geography mostly because of sports, I would say, more than wrestling. Although wrestling is a sport.
It's the one true sport. That and Eurovision.
The sport of champions, yeah.
The question I wanted to ask you, Jack, like, so you've played a whole bunch of this Battle Royale country mode. Have you had any issues where it's like recycled a location you've seen before? Or does no? Okay. Right.
I have not. Like, you have the same country. Like, I had Philippines in like the same 2 rounds, or like 2 rounds back to back, but they were different parts of the Philippines, and you're almost like, I think this is the Philippines, but at the same time I've just had it. Because the interesting thing about the Philippines is, like, it has that very much island sort of like Eastern Asian feel, but at the same time there are lots of signs in English. So you're like, okay, so it's like an Eastern Asian country with like lots of signs in English, and there's only 2 countries that are really like that. You've got Singapore, which is basically like that whole place is just like a massive city, right? Singapore, it's not a big country at all, and it doesn't have a lot of kind of countryside, whereas Philippines does. So you kind of, if you see those signs and that sort of thing, you know you're in the Philippines. It's weird. I'm gradually starting to learn things about other countries, like, you know, road signs. I've learned that of the countries in Scandinavia, only Sweden uses like umlauts on their signs. So like if you see a Scandinavian country with umlauts, you're like, right, I know I'm in Sweden. It's just just dumb things like that you kind of pick up. And I've been getting gradually sort of better and better at the game. And yeah, I'm just having such a good time. It's the sort of thing that I only play for like an hour or so at the time, you know. But yeah, and there's like I say, you can go into, you don't have to play the sort of competitive modes. You can play the preordained maps. Like Dave, there's bound to be an island map where you're not playing against anyone, you're just playing against the clock, so you can go and, you know, click through into different parts of Ireland, see how good your Irish geography is. Like I say, I'd recommend the football stadiums one as well, Dave. Like that's a good time. And yeah, like it's just it's a peaceful browser game that I can play, and my brain has been so fried recently. Like work has been so strenuous. Like if you work for a company that sells things at this time of year, and then in the last month everyone's just remembered, oh yes, I need to buy Christmas presents, and as I work for a high street retailer, one of the few remaining bastions of the high street really, there's not many other places for people to go right now, so I've been like very stretched, and Geoguesser is just a nice calming way to sort of travel the world from where I'm sitting. When I remember I first got Google Earth, I was so fascinated with being able to drop that little man on the map and just explore a city, and now I can do that in game form. Now it's gamified. It just makes it feel like all the better for doing so. Yeah, I highly recommend to anybody that likes Geoguesser, don't go on YouTube and watch other people play it, because that's when you start to realize that people are like, oh, okay, yeah, the sun is in the north and that means I'm in this place, and you know, like, I can see they've got this type of grass here and this shape on the road sign, and oh, it's obviously black number plates, that must mean I'm in blah blah blah, and you're like, okay, that's a level of like savant that I'm never going to achieve. But me, I'm just fun being a happy sort of like mediocre Geoguesser player and having a great time.
Yeah, I think it's something. It's something I've ever since I heard of it, I've wanted to try and just never have.
Dave, I think if that sounds like it's up your street, I think you would really like it. As I say, the multiplayer modes, people on there some people are scarily good, but Battle Royale countries is good because there are some people on there that just genuinely have got no idea. So like you have like a real mixture of abilities. And yeah, it's just fun to try and figure out what country you're in when you're just thrust into it.
I see something else here on your docket, Jack.
Oh yes, I also wrote a bunch of Steam Deck bullshit because I have also been, of an evening, playing my Steam Deck, and I have been using it for emulation.
One of us.
Ooh,
and only emulation.
Now, have you actually been playing on it, or have you been like me? Are you still at the tinkering on and off stage with it?
No, I did all my Ranieri Tinkerman stuff at the start, just put a bunch of stuff on it, and I've just been playing games. I've been mostly playing old PS2 games, all the games from my collections, like SSXs and Tony Hawk's, but the game I've been playing the most is Burnout 3. And I've spoken about that a couple of times, but yeah, basically just sort of maybe 70-80% of the way through Burnout 3 and all the challenges and getting gold medals and everything in Burnout 3. So yeah, that's been making me happy.
I'd be disappointed if you didn't blitz through 6 golden coins at some point already.
Do you know what? I got the train up to Newcastle about a month ago for a extremely unsuccessful Chelsea away trip, Mark, and I completed 6 golden coins on my beautiful other emulation device, the Retroid Pocket. So yeah.
Yeah, but I tell you what though, right? Those Game Boy and 8-bit and 16-bit era games look fucking beautiful on the Steam Deck.
They do look really good, in fairness. Yeah, I played some Mario Kart 64, just because I feel like you kind of have to, right?
Absolutely.
So I played a bit of that. Played a bit of Double Dash on there as well. Bit of Mario Tennis.
How have you set up your emulation? Did you use Emulation Station, or have you just got all of... Yeah, you've done it that way. Okay.
I just left it all in emulation, because I know you can set it up so that some of the games show in the thing.
Yeah.
But I don't like that. I just want it all in the one app.
I just love the UI on Emulation Station.
It's so good, yeah. It's so satisfying, just the little box arts of like... Yeah, okay, this console, you click it up, then you scrape all the information. It gives you like the little preview video and like a little blurb on the game, like, okay, yeah, Burnout 3, this game came out in 2000 and blah 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 and blah blah blah, and I just, it feels so nice, and it just categorizes everything on there. Steam Deck is so easy to set up for emulation as well. Like, you can be a complete novice, watch a 20-minute video and know exactly what to do with it. It's just a great system for emulation, and I kind of almost feel bad that I haven't actually been playing any proper games on there, like proper Steam games. But I've just been basically reliving my childhood with my Steam Deck so far. All the games that I've got downloaded on there, I essentially downloaded because I've still got all my physical games because I'm a massive mark, and I just basically re-downloaded pretty much every single game that I already own, so I don't even have that feeling of guilt of like playing something that I don't already have or can't obtain. Definitely can't play on PS5.
Do people have guilt about that?
Some people might. As a person that's been purchasing movies and TV shows from the internet, Dave, since I was about maybe 14 or 15, not so much. I remember the first thing I used to download from the internet was I found a forum where they would put like a new episode of Friends up before it would show in the UK, and downloading a .mpeg version of that.
That is a long time ago, and I bet the quality on that was something special.
It wasn't so bad, the quality, to be honest. It was just like how long it took to download.
240p.
No, it wasn't. It was like an MPEG, so it'd be like 360p or 480p, right? Which was about what TV was. But I would download it. Like, I'd set it downloading in the morning or something, and it would probably finish downloading about 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I'd get home from school and watch it. So that's how long I've been doing that sort of stuff, waiting for as I'm speaking these words, waiting for someone to burst through my door and arrest me at any moment. But
now you can download entire back catalogues in about 2 minutes.
Yeah, but it's just nice, isn't it? The Steam Deck, it's like Nintendo Switch size, but it's just more satisfying to play than the Nintendo Switch. The
form factor on it is just like, it's so surprising because you hold it and you think it's this big, awkward,
unwieldy,
bulky concept. But it's really just the groove and how you hold it. It's like, oh, son of a bitch, this thing's super satisfying to hold.
It just isn't that, and it's sort of the sort of thing that you can play in bed so easily as well, like lying
which
down.
is a big positive boon for you, given your enjoyment of horizontality at all times.
I'll be honest with you, I am a little bit horizontal now. To let everybody in, my week has been so busy at work, and I've also been out 3 nights this week as well, and Daddy's tired, you know.
There's your podcast title.
The thing that I want to figure out, well, I'm sure it can do it, because I had Brony round, a friend of the show, a couple of weeks ago. Was doing a little bit of multiplayer on.
Sorry, I'm still not over Daddy's tired.
I was doing a little bit of emulation, doing 2-player emulation. That works really great, but like, because the Steam Deck, in terms of emulation, you can pretty much throw any wireless controller, Bluetooth controller at it, and it will sync up and work. So I really I want to get a group of people around, like some PS2 games, and get like 4 Xbox controllers, or even like my Switch Pro controller, because between the 2 Xbox controllers I got, the Switch Pro and the PS5, in theory I should have 4 controllers that can sync up to it. And I haven't tried it yet, but I want to see like, hey, can I get like a Mario Party to work with like these 4 different controllers? So that's something I want to tinker with over Christmas and see.
I mean, if you do, Mark, you have to remember that nobody wins.
Nobody wins.
Nobody wins. Too bad.
Besides me.
Yeah. Welcome to our pie.
Okay, that is video games packed away, and now we get to it's a bit festive. We're post Keeley's. There's not really a lot to do, and Mark, you put in a lot of work on some mystery quiz that apparently needed all 3 of us, and then Garrett absolutely sandbagged you. Showed up. Known coward Garrett Kidney is back. Wow. Returning to the old highlights from earlier in the year. I have stepped into the breach. Now, I haven't made my own quizzes. What I've gone and done is I have found 4 quizzes that I think are on brand for you gentlemen. And what I am going to do is I'm not going to reveal what the quizzes are until you select them. So we're going to
about cranking it.
We are going to now. You may be cranking it while enjoying a nice quiz. That is entirely your own business. But what we're going to do is, I am going to ask you guys to Okay. Yes, I am going to ask you a question. This may play into Jack's hands. I don't know, but I know Mark was in the room before when the answer to this question came up. It's a question about geography. And the first of you that can send me an answer in the chat, if you get it right,
we have to do it in the chat.
Yeah. This is it's just so that you don't just do Mark's guess plus one. So you send it to me privately, so each other can't see it. Okay. Just this question to determine who goes first. So,
okay,
how many? And don't Google this answer. How many double landlocked countries are there in the world? So a country that is not only landlocked but surrounded by other countries that are landlocked. You don't have to name them, but you will get bonus brownie points from me if you do. So if you both get it wrong, the closest answer will be correct. Okay.
Double landlocked.
So I have an answer from Mark in the chat.
I realised the approach to this is to just not spend too much time thinking about it.
Okay.
Good instinct. This is Mark. Do you remember when I got a bit haughty-taughty about ordering board games in the house and said, you know what, we'll all be well able for the Master Edition of Trivial Pursuit, and we got it. And the first question I pulled out was this, and I've never forgotten it since, because that really told me I am not a Trivial Pursuit master.
I tried to. I blacked out most of that fucking session because I was just garbage at that. General knowledge in general, I'm terrible at.
I am still waiting on an answer from you, Jack.
So, when you say double landlocked,
so it's a landlocked country, but all the countries that border it are also landlocked.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm right. Okay, I did send you an answer, but I'm now unsending that answer.
Okay.
That's going to be... So it's landlocked by countries, but then all the countries around it are landlocked.
Again, I think the Mark approach. Stratagem of don't think too hard about it.
It's a terrible idea. I would not condone anyone else attempting this.
What, thinking?
Yeah,
I've sent you a guess in Messenger chat.
Oh, right. Okay.
Where did Mark send you?
He DM'd it to me on Zoom.
Oh, you can DM?
Okay. Yeah, you can just change the response from everyone to a specific person in the chat.
Pro Zoomers over here, let me tell you.
I'm going to reveal that in second place, the person who isn't going first, with a guess of 9, is Mark Robinson. Ambitious as always. But the stratagem has backfired.
9.
The man who got it correct to within 1 was Jack. Jack guessed 3. There are in fact 2.
Only 2. So in my head, I was like, there has to be at least one in Africa.
Nope.
Are they up? The only other one, the only
Europe
one I can
and
think,
Asia.
Right. So the only ones I can think of would have to be either like Luxembourg.
Nope.
Or like one of those little countries, like maybe Liechtenstein.
Liechtenstein is one of them.
Yes, come on. And then the other one's in Asia.
I feel like it's like that one of those Kazakhstan countries or something that you forget exist.
Oh, what, like, Tajikistan or Kyrgyzstan.
One of those, yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's going to be hard.
It's in fact Uzbekistan.
Uzbek,
which is so Liechtenstein is completely enveloped by Austria and Switzerland. Uzbekistan is surrounded by Afghanistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Turkmenistan. Now, I gave you such a haughty-taughty geography question because we are about to drop the intellectual bar. These are not going to be difficult quizzes whatsoever. But I just wanted to give us some air of intelligence on this.
Dave, I even
I might have a chance for this then. Excellent.
Dave, I sat up when you said that at first. I was like, oh, okay, I better take this shit.
I have been in the background preparing a serious quiz for next year, but I thought as a kind of Christmas, let's go light, and I've picked some fairly on brand for our interest online quizzes that are all like 10-ish questions. You're going to do 2 each, okay? But you're going to be the first man to pick. So number 1, 2, 3, or 4, Jack.
I'll go with 3, which is what I guessed for the number of landlocked countries.
Excellent. Because there's a couple here I'm really pulling for like one or the other of you to get, and you've just gotten one of the ones I had earmarked for Jack.
Okay.
This is to tell us... Oh, by the way, I should say fabulous prizes for the overall winner at the end, which is why I've made you both stick your camera on for this.
Do we get to pet Toby?
He's very much asleep now at my feet, but he would be very willing to be pet at all times.
Okay, Toby this quiz, dog, he's adorable.
This quiz,
everybody who doesn't know.
This quiz, Jack. Which legendary Republic of Ireland footballer are you?
Okay.
So, question 1: where were you born? Leinster, Munster, Ulster, or elsewhere?
Elsewhere.
Okay, well, that's one question down. What is your favourite position to play? Goalkeeper, defender, midfielder, or striker?
I mean, probably striker. So I don't have to move as much.
Where would you like to start your professional career? In the League of Ireland, a title-chasing club, a mid-table club, or other? And you know, a lot of the younger fans are going to say title-chasing club straight away, but I know you and I both like the romance of the game, so I'd be interested to hear what you say. Other.
I'd love to start my career at some weird club, and then everyone goes back into your Wikipedia and sees the teams you played for that are good, and then they get back and they're like, "What?"
Yeah. Oh my God! Like he scored 100 goals in the Swiss second division when he was 19.
What was he doing out there? Why was he playing for Skonto Riga in Latvia?
How would you describe your playing style, Jack? Would it be solid and reliable, effortlessly classy, box to box, or all about them goals?
Oh, God. I'm all about them goals.
Yeah, all about them goals. No dribbles. Which Irish manager would you love to play for the most? Jack Charlton, Mick McCarthy, Giovanni Trapattoni, or Martin O'Neill?
Oh no, because now you've thrown McCarthy in there.
Yeah, have you? I think Martin O'Neill might be you might get the most hugs off him.
I don't
like
want
in terms of like arm round the shoulder.
Surely it's McCarthy for the GIF alone.
I mean, it's gonna. I'm channeling my friend Adam Walker right now, who's a huge Wolves fan. He would be so disappointed if I didn't pick Big Mick. So I'm gonna go with Big Mick. But
Big Mick, poor Jack Charlton in the mud.
Yeah.
If given the first choice, which number would you prefer to wear? 2, 10, 7, or 4?
Oh, none of those.
You went 9 all the way.
Yeah, I'll go with like 7. I'll go with like a European striker option.
Okay, yeah. How many caps would you back yourself to get for Ireland? 50 to 70, 70 to 90, 90 to 110, or over 110?
Over 110 all day long.
Oh, here he is.
Legend.
I have a feeling I know what player you're going to get. How many goals do you think you'd score for Ireland? 5 or less, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, or more than 15?
In my 110 caps, can I please say 5 or less?
Yes.
As a striker
too
as
late.
well.
What tournament would you love to play at in your peak? Oh, this is good. This is good stuff. One of these is not like the others, let me tell you. But it's just, I guess, we don't qualify for many tournaments, so this one had to feature. Italia 90, USA 94, Japan Korea 02, or Euro 2012.
I mean, it's Italian 90, and it's not even close. The romance of it all, Dave.
Yeah. What term would Irish fans use to describe you? God, incredibly gifted, big game player, or cult hero?
Definitely cult hero.
Okay. My friend, they're calculating the results right now. And this is a good one. Now, I was convinced based on what you were saying about being up front that you were going to get Robbie Keane.
Keano, yeah.
That's what I thought. I think
Please tell me it's Cascarino.
We all want other Keano, or we want someone obscure like a Lee Carsley. You, my friend,
or Clinton Morrison.
You've got a beautiful one here. You got Paul McGrath.
Oh, mate, I'll take that all day long.
That is a great one. You're taking that right to the bank. So that's a very powerful start now from Jack. And that leaves us with 3 quizzes. So, Mark, it's up to you now. 1, 2, or 3?
Numero uno.
Numero uno. I threw this one in honor of Garrett and the week he's had and him being in hiding. This is the ultimate Chris Jericho quiz.
All right.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I believe this is also 10 questions.
Okay.
This was also one I was hoping you would get.
Okay.
It's so far breaking very well for me. Who on this list has not won a tag team title with Chris Jericho in the WWE? Edge, The Rock, Lance Storm, or Chris Benoit?
Lance Storm.
You're already in trouble with the certainty of these answers, Jack. I do have a metric by which I'm judging who's ahead here. There is method to my madness. Who did Chris Jericho lose the WWF European title to one day after he won it at WrestleMania 2000? Benoit, Guerrero, Angle, or Regal?
One day after WrestleMania 2000, it was... I think that was Regal.
It was Eddie Guerrero.
I wasn't 100%.
You were thinking 2001. Backlash 2001 was the Marquis of Queensberry rules.
I always forget Regal around that period.
This is you're talking Eddie going into Mamacita era, so he was European champion.
Yeah.
Okay, so you fucked that anyway.
Shove that up your
Chris Jericho won the Intercontinental title for the first time at Armageddon 99. Who did he defeat to win the title? China, Jeff Jarrett, Kurt Angle, or Chris Benoit?
China.
It was China. At which WrestleMania did Chris Jericho face Shawn Michaels? I don't even need to read them out, do I?
That
was that 19?
19, yes.
Even I knew that one, and I don't know anything.
Chris Jericho won the World Heavyweight Championship at Unforgiven 2008 in a championship scramble match. Which one of these 5 names was not involved in that match? JBL, Kane, Rey Mysterio, Jeff Hardy, or Batista?
Jeff Hardy.
That is correct. That's uncanny. You and your weird pay-per-view main event.
Pretty sure he was a SmackDown guy at the time.
Chris Jericho took part in the first ever Money in the Bank ladder match in WWE history. At which WrestleMania did this happen?
That'd be WrestleMania 21.
Who did Chris Jericho lose to at WrestleMania 20?
Christian.
Yeah, I knew I didn't even need to go to the options. By the way, the other options were Edge, Booker T, and The Big Show. At which pay-per-view in 2001 did Chris Jericho become the first ever WWF Undisputed Champion?
That would be Vengeance.
It would be Vengeance. Typewriter Vengeance. Chris Jericho won the Hardcore title one time in his career. Who did he defeat to win that Hardcore title? Was it...
man.
Well, I give you the options.
Crash Holly.
Yeah.
Kane, Test, The Big Show, or Rhino?
What about secret option number 5, Crash Holly?
Give me those 4 again.
Kane, Test, The Big Show, or Rhino?
Oh, boy.
The thing that's great about this is you didn't care about whether the answers to yours were good or not, Jack, whereas it's like agonizing to Mark if he gets any of these.
I can't even place when he would have won the Hardcore title.
It's got to be
Wait,
Rhino.
no, hang on.
I did. If you had told me, like, yes or no, did he ever win the Hardcore title, I would have said no. And I'm a big Jericho guy.
I remember he had it for like a cup of coffee. I feel like... because I remember he had the Hardcore match with RVD, but I don't feel like he won the Hardcore title around that time. So I'm guessing he must have held it for like 5 minutes in the fucking madness of the 24/7 division in 2000. Or... I'm... just one more time. Give me the 4.
Kane, Test, Big Show, Rhino.
Kane, Test, Big Show.
I would be shocked if it isn't Rhino. He won that so many times.
I'm going to say Test.
You're going to say Test. Test is incorrect. He won it from The Big Show.
Fuck.
Oh, I so wanted to be right about that.
Who did Chris Jericho face in his WWE in-ring debut on the August 26th, 1999 episode of SmackDown? Yeah, I think we all remember that from the book. You got 8 out of 10.
I'll take that.
It says here, you will not be added to the list of Jericho. Good job. So that pretty much dates when that quiz is from.
Garrett, on the other hand.
Garrett,
right
oh
on
my
that
God,
list.
he was truly the Judas in his mind.
Can fuck off, apparently.
He can fuck
Now,
off, comma.
This is
Garrett.
a coin toss, and I'm sweating on this because there's one I really want. I really
Just give me the one you really want. I
Okay.
don't like.
Okay,
Come on.
Okay, right, Jack. I know. I as soon as I saw that this quiz existed, this is where I came up with the idea for the random quizzes.
Right.
Because this
Because it would
one,
be really anticlimactic if this landed on Mark. So,
this is what Matt Berry character are you?
I can tell you right now, all of them.
Okay, are you ready? Now
Yes.
these are 12 questions, and I need
should
them
I say?
firing out
Yes.
quick. All right.
All right.
What sounds most appealing to you? Exploring the world, helping the disadvantaged, hanging out with friends, starting your own business, civil service work, the performing arts, solving a mystery, or tending a garden?
Hanging out with friends.
Hanging out with friends. I have answered that for you. Where would you prefer to live? The West End, a cottage on the moors, a stately manor house, the heart of the city, the rainforest, a quiet neighbourhood, the East End, or a Gothic mansion?
The heart of the city.
Heart of the city. Okay. Question 3. What's your best character trait? Loyalty, honesty, charisma, creativity, bravery, patience, perseverance, or self-confidence?
Charisma.
Okay. Charisma it is. Okay. What is your worst trait? Really asking you to dig down into yourself. Are you
Everything
bossy,
else.
greedy, impulsive, arrogant? By the way, the clip art for arrogant is Kanye West in this quiz. Of topical. Unreliable, obsessive, stubborn, self-indulgent.
Self-indulgent.
Okay. At a party, you would be capturing everyone's attention as you talked about your latest adventure, in the back chilling with your other weird friends, quoting movie lines and singing show tunes, wingman for your best bud, charming all the ladies, knowing you'll have the pick of which one to take home, playing your mate double or nothing in a game of darts, telling gruesome stories over a pint, or hanging out in the living room watching a game.
I would be chatting with my pals in the back.
Okay,
That is
with
exactly
your other
what I
weird
do.
friends. Done.
Yeah.
Okay, question 6. Pick a colour. Red, pink, white, blue, green, black,
Blue.
yellow, purple.
Blue.
Blue. Blue.
Is the colour.
What is your favourite Matt Berry song? Good Lord. I know there's one that really sticks out for me. Snuffbox Theme, Accident at a Harvest Festival, One Track Lover, Take
Yep.
My Hand, The Pheasant, Jet Setter, The Innkeeper Song, Obsessed and So Obscure.
Oh, mate. It's somewhere between the Snuffbox theme and One Track Lover.
I'm going to have to press it.
I'm gonna go Snuffbox theme because
Disappointed me.
I really do love the Snuffbox theme though, especially the version they do in the park.
The
with all the
Iowade
swearing.
rap.
I know,
Anyway.
but I sorry, Snuffbox is underrated. It doesn't get enough prop.
What are your career goals? Own my own company, carry on in the family business, cure diseases, receive long overdue recognition for my achievements. What career? To make my mark discovering new and untouched territory, to keep secrets safe, or to take over the country.
What career?
Okay. Okay, question 9 out of 12. Your friends would describe you as boisterous, laid back, fearless, dodgy, loyal, conceited, again another clip art of Kanye West, focused, charming.
Loyal.
The only one that isn't stock imagery are the 2 times I've seen Kanye West pop up here. The people at Playbuzz were making a point here. If you were stranded on a desert island and could only bring one thing with you, what would it be? A folio of Shakespeare, a hat, a Walkman, rope, an iPod, a rifle, a truncheon, or a toothpick?
Truncheon.
Truncheon. Okay, the penultimate question. What qualities do you find attractive in a partner, Jack? Business acumen, love of the creative arts, charm, a sense of danger, a sense of humour, compassion, the ability to solve problems, or encouragement and support?
Sense of humour.
Sense of humour. What do you find attractive in a partner? Business acumen. Incredible.
Business acumen, 100%, yeah.
In your group of friends, you are the hot one, the confident one, the quiet one, the drama queen, the funny one, the sarcastic one, the level-headed one, or the loud one?
Maybe the sarcastic one or the funny one.
Sarcastic one has been clicked. Calculating results now there for you. Let's see now. How would I rate this? Jeez, it's taking its sweet fucking time here. You are Laszlo Cravensworth.
Yes, baby.
Yeah, I'll rate that pretty high. Okay, so you've done very well for yourself on that one. With one quiz and it all to play for, it comes to Mark, and this is a very...
and Laszlo Cravensworth on the same night.
This is a Brand Robinson one, if ever there was one. Which member of the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia crew are you?
All right.
Oh, okay. Mac, obviously.
How would you define yourself? This is 10 questions, by the way. Entertaining, cultured, strong, rich, or carefree?
Cultured.
Cultured. What's your favourite curse word? Dickbag, jabroni, asshole, damn it, or shit?
Oh, jabroni.
Yeah, it's got to be jabroni, doesn't it?
Jabron.
An attractive hobo walks into a bar. You try to seduce them, try to see if they're a threat, try and befriend them, try to beat them up, or try to scam them. I feel like that's the first one where it's clear which character each one is going for.
Try to scam them.
Okay. What's your biggest flaw? Rage, narcissism, lust, finances, or untrustworthy?
The finances.
Okay. Cats or dogs?
Cats.
Kitten mittens. What matters the most to you? Sex, money, power, happiness, or fame?
Happiness.
Happiness. You see someone that you fancy. Your tactic is you have a plan of seduction already. You instantly hit on them, or you stand off, observe, and approach later.
The third one there. That's got to be part of the Dennis system, surely.
I have to say that the JPEG for this question is the Dennis system. So the third one. Okay. From this list, you prefer regular sex, looking good, animals, being liked, or living by your own rules?
Regular sex.
Could you have said that any more like a criminal?
Just the line delivery was perfect.
What's your role in the gang? The brains, the muscle, the planner, the wild card, or you don't make plans?
Yeehaw, wild card, bitches.
Mark, if you don't answer wild card, I'll headbutt you.
You would love to try rum ham, random sex, guns, or crotein?
I mean, honestly, I would like to try rum ham.
Yeah. I think we're all on a rum ham boat here. The crotein was a good reference. We're calculating your results here. Milk. I think perhaps, because you don't really watch It's Always Sunny, Jack, do you?
It's not too much.
You may not appreciate this as much as I will. You are Dennis Reynolds.
Excellent.
Congratulations, you are a golden god / sex pervert. Why is this? Because of the implication.
The implication, yeah. Of course.
It's the implication.
Oh, dear.
That's definitely Mark.
Gentlemen, I am tabulating your results as we speak for the big finale here to see who wins the fabulous prizes. And I'm astonished to learn that because of your performances, I'm deeming it to be a draw.
Oh,
yeah, I know. So you're going to have to split the fabulous prize. And it's now time for me to reveal what said fabulous prize is. And gentlemen, the fabulous prize is that this whole thing has been a ruse. A clever ruse concocted by me to ask you both live on the air if you will be groomsmen at my wedding.
Oh! Yes.
Dave, of course, I would be honoured.
Hell yes.
Come on now.
I've been thinking for a while. I've been waiting to get it where it was just the three of us on the show, and I was like, can I come up with enough random quizzes I found on the internet to see if I can annoy them into making me stop before I get to the nice part.
Honestly, you could have given me like wrestling quizzes all night long. I'd have been all for it.
That's why
actually a little bit teary. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, you're two of my best friends, and I want you to be part of the experience.
I love you, buddy.
I love you too, man. I love you both. And that is going to bring a nice emotional festive end to Link to the Cast for the year.
That's brilliant. Love it.
Thanks very much for listening in for another year of Link to the Cast. We're about to enter Game of the Year season, where we are going to have a multi-part special, where we're not going to be this friendly and happy and emotional. We are going to be emotional, but all the friendship, I think I may be rescinding the offers I just made.
I was going to say, listen to me and Mark talk our way out of being groomsmen.
This is my tactic to form a voting block on Game of the Year, essentially. My original plan was to ask you at the end of Game of the Year. But then I was like, we might not be on speaking terms by then, so let's just do it now.
Oh boy.
But yeah, thanks for listening in. At Link to the Cast is where you need to go to follow us on Twitter. Apparently, you'll be able to live tweet the stag do when it happens. And individually, I'm at the Day to Dave. Mark is at Lithium Project. Jack is at Jack Lazell. The coward Garrett Kidney is at Garrett Kidney. And yeah, we'll see you soon for Game of the Year. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye bye.